But never did the signs generate any more publicity than with a jingle dreamed up by Alan Odell in 1938.
And so this one night, he woke me in the middle of the night, and I had my pencil and paper and flashlight because I couldn't get up to turn on a light. And this is what he said: "Free, free, a trip to Mars for 900 empty jars." Well, they put that on the road, and they got one fellow wrote that he had 800 jars, and where were they going to send him? And that evening, Alan came home and just distraught. He said, "Well, now what am I going to do?" And I said, "Honey, just sleep on it." And so soon after that, he came out with this: "If a trip to Mars you'd earn, remember, friend, there's no return." And he never did hear from him again.
But the man with the 800 jars wasn't quite as persistent as one of the real characters of Burma-Shave lore, Arliss Frenchy. Frenchy, as he was known, spotted the Mars jingles alongside the road. The father of 7 children had never traveled very much, so he got to wondering about the peculiar message.
One day, in going between Fond du Lac and Sheboygan, I noticed those signs: "Free, free, a trip to Mars for 900 empty jars." I didn't pay too much attention to it, but as I drove along and as the days passed by, you just keep thinking about that. What would they do if somebody would send them 900 empty jars?
Soon he had the signs reproduced. He put them in the Red Owl grocery store he managed.
We put them in the store in the first aisle. Our first aisle was produce department. It was quite a big building, quite a large store. And we put them right down the aisle.
He offered a bounty of 15 cents a jar for every one his customers brought in. Then he sent a telegram to Burma Vita. They responded with the "Remember, friend, there's no return" message that Alan Odell had crafted some 20 years earlier. But Frenchy wouldn't go away easily. He sent another telegram.
"When dealing with Burma, we expect a close shave. Why split hairs about the trip that I crave?"
Burma Vita finally decided to send Frenchy and his wife Fran to Mars, Germany, outside of Dusseldorf. So he donned his space costume and helmet and headed to Minneapolis with his 900 jars and a Brinks truck. The Frenchys spent the night at the home of Alan and Grace Odell and then continued to New York.
His costume was really funny. It was a red cape with the logo of the Red Owl. And then he had a helmet that was not anything like the helmets that they use now, and had that, and he carried a Burma-Shave sign.
And I was walking along to go to the other plane. Somebody yelled from up on the roof, "Hey, what did you do, lose a bet?"
And Frenchy made headlines all the way. He and his wife also got an unexpected chance to visit Paris.
I said, "Well, gee, this is our first time here. Wonder if we couldn't spend some time in Paris and go to Dusseldorf tonight." So we stayed. They said, "Sure, we'll take a flight tonight." We took a cab, hired a cab, and he drove us all around Paris, an English-speaking driver. We spent a whole day in Paris, and that night we boarded for Dusseldorf, not knowing that Dusseldorf was waiting for us. We got there, and the plane landed. It was a small plane, but there might have been 50 of us on the flight, and we were about in the middle. And as we walked to get off the plane, I looked out the window, and I see all those photographers and all those people, cameras all around. And I said to Fran, "Boy, somebody important on this flight." We looked around, who in the heck would be so important, you know? Well, the minute I stepped out the door, somebody yelled, "Put on your helmet." Well, I knew who the important one was.
As the Frenchys and the Odells all ultimately agreed, it was simply great fun.